welcome to this first edition of the Roundtable. Here we're sitting with few young people from the Congolese community. All together, we're going to be speaking about the Congolese community and the children in the Congolese community. We know in our culture, sometimes kids don't really have a voice, but here it's time for us to have a voice. So that's why we made this table together, so young people can speak for themselves what they think of certain things. For example, if we our parents protect us, if our leaders kind of protect us from certain things that happen within the community. Everyone's gonna present themselves, and then we're gonna start with our debate and discussion rounds. We're gonna start with lady.
Um, my name is Patricia Madusa.
Charles, also known as Congo Man.
Romain Matondo from Congo Empact.
Nolia Kitoko.
Ben.
Mame.
Linda. Claudia.
Louis Bostampen, a photographer.
Everyone here who's sitting here on the table have kind of to do with the Congolese community or has an influence into the community. So it's really important for us now to speak and to say what's on our minds to break those taboos because our voices need to be heard and our thoughts need to be listened to so we can kind of change the way our community is going into a separation because we need to come back together because only if we are together we will stand strong. So Papa Roma, yes?
Yeah, you're right. I'm very pleased to have you here because this is a continuation of what we do for the community. And we have to acknowledge that it is a challenging issue, very sensitive because of the nature of it, but we can't avoid talking.
I'm in a situation where I'm able to have that communication, but I think going back to what we discussed earlier, communication and building a rapport with your children is very important, especially when you take children from one environment to a next environment. As the parents have to adapt to a new environment, new society, new rules, and new ways, you have to you can't just come into a country and then say, well, I'm going to live in this country as if I was in my own country.
Exactly.
You have to open yourself to
Yeah.
what's happening. Once you're able to learn what's happening around you, then you'll be able to guide your children through this because it's a change for you as an adult, it's a double change for them as children being around, and they have to follow, they have to know what's happening at home, and they have to know what's happening out of home. But as I say, clearly, and as Linda mentioned very clearly, the most important thing is safeguarding. Culture, religion, and everything can come way behind. Children need to be safe, and we need to kind of come together to make sure that children are safe. We need to have that open communication. When we see an issue within the community, don't try to keep it under wrap or keep it quiet. Let's sit down like we are doing right now and discuss that issue because I find that there is a lot of resistance because people don't always know. If they don't know, as I say, we have parenting classes and so forth, but they need to come forward, make sure that there are other groups that kind of support the community to be able to understand some of the wrongdoing or things that they've experienced that might have worked for a period of time, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, but things are changing. So obviously we need to be able to adapt. So I think forum and such a...
Okay, something about it. Now, don't we see here that there is some kind of intergenerational conflicts here? Can we say that between the parents and children are born here? Because those who are born here who have been brought here for the earlier age, they pick up things, the new culture quickly. They go to school, they have friends, and they pick up things very quickly. And when parents are slow, and when it comes to discipline, getting things right, don't you think that that conflict of generations still exists? And what do we do about it?
That conflict of generation is actually quite generic. That happens in every children anywhere in the world. So that's already there. We know it happened. That's part of the progression. But now, what happened is that it's heightened by the fact of like when it's also a cultural difference when kids identify themselves from the culture that they brought up in, rather than necessarily the culture at home. And if there is a difference of communication when the kids actually speak English more than their own language at home, when the parents focus more on speaking their home language, sometimes you have a different of language, culture, and so forth, and that divide increase when young people start get to the teenage years and they're influenced by their peers, and sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's not so positive. But then you have to kind of be able to still have that rapport, even though a child might have taken a wrong path, like Ben might have said early on. You've taken the wrong path. What do we do with it? Do we just give up on the child, or do we actually look for every means that we can find in order to bring that child back, but keeping that relationship? Because there's a detachment. I've seen growing numbers of kids from Congolese background into gang and so forth because what they can't relate to what the parents are saying. Just because the kids in the first place, and then sometimes because of the cultural difference, so that just make the gap even wider. They can't relate to the parents, so they're spending their time away from the parents. Then they get involved with friends who, unfortunately, might not always lead them on the right path. And because of some of the kids have lived certain reality back home, there's a amount of violence that they might have seen through what we have lived back home, and they kind of desensitized to some of it, and they're actually being targeted as prime leader in gangs because they're evil.
Talking about safeguarding children, before that, to all the parents who are listening to this conversation, it's really important that if you see that you have some difficulties talking to a child, or you have some difficulties just communicating to a child, we as our two youth workers, if I can say that, yeah, but they said there are parenting classes, so it's really important that it's not embarrassing to get help to educate your child. It's not embarrassing to get help to help your child, because if you help your child today, he will make you proud tomorrow. So please, where do they go to get those helps? Who do they have to call, or how do they get in contact?
You can ask your local authority.
Local,
So your local authorities usually will be able to signpost you if you want, if that's something that you want, you tell them what you want.
Exactly.
Even if it's something, I mean, I doubt that it's free or anything. But yeah, there are out there.
Beneficial, yeah.
Also, the schools really help.
Yeah.
Like these days, they're giving like kids counselling and stuff. And like, guys, I know two of my sisters got counselling, and that was free. And then they even do family counselling, so you guys get to understand each other.
So it's not about taking away your children, or it's not about taking away your authority over your kids, but it's just about helping you to be able to help your kids, to be able to help your children. So it's really important that really you try. It doesn't show that you are weak, but it shows that you're very strong and you're really concerned about your kids, your children's future. Yes, Ben?
Yeah, I would just like to say you need to understand as well the parent that come back home. They'll feel more comfortable if they go to a place they know there's people from the same community, the same Congolese, or call, pick up the phone and call this man speaking
Don't
the
you
same
think they will be
languages.
scared that it says, okay, the person on the other line is a Congolese as well, and the way we know Congolese people, they talk a lot. So if I call there, hello, here's Miss Kalonji, I have a problem with my son. Which Kalonji? The one from next door. Oh my God, let me call someone else. Don't you think the person will be more scared? Because, and they will say, I prefer go to a white person who doesn't know me, doesn't know, and then talk.
But I'll say it depends how the person on the phone present themselves.
Okay.
Do you understand? I'll be happy to discuss with him about my problems because I know already the way you present himself will be easier for me to communicate with him. And once we build that relationship, it'll be easier for me to influence other parents to come as well. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's what we need to understand. As a
Exactly.
community, we have to build our professionalism.
That's another point. That's why we're having this kind of debate. That's why we're having organizations like Congo Empact, because they know working in the system, it is sometimes hard to build that the relationship of trust because the perception in the community is that the police, they just come to take away your kids. Social workers do the same. The school will quickly refer you to social services and the parent gets in trouble. It is about that perception. So if within the community they know that there are links, okay, in which they can rely to bring that relation of trust and then liaise with the agencies in a way that they can trust, that we find. And we've done that work in the past, and we are still doing it. I sit on different body with the Metropolitan Police, the Department of Education. We get calls from social services about police cases. Now, what is interesting with this forum is like we have the possibility to identify people in the community who can help, professionals, because they are there. That's why we say in Congo Impact to use all that expertise we have in the community for people to come forward to say, okay, here we are, we can help in a professional way. But there is trust because we understand what the issues are, being part of the same culture and same community. We understand better and we can provide better solution even when the case is on the hand of the police, the social service, because they come back when they get stuck. They come back to us to say, this is something we don't understand with this family. What is the issue? And they say, what did you find in the house? Or the police would say, when we got there, we found the Bible open. We found the mother was in the bedroom praying, and we found the kids in the living room. As it is interesting. So there is already a connection with a place of worship. And what is the pastor? A pastor. There are cases where we identify the name of the pastor, the name of the church. We are doing prevention work. All these processes is not for the children to go away because we identify that there is a safeguarding concern, safeguarding issue, but this doesn't necessarily mean that the children are taken away. That's where support is needed. So we talk to the pastor to say this is the issue. We talk to the family, we talk to the mother that this is what the law is saying, and we explain. And if we can refer to parenting courses, you see, both social services and the police, we do the job. So the family feels safe, children have been protected, and they haven't been taken away, and the parents have received the support, so nobody is left behind. And this is what we need to safeguard our community and children. And now, when it comes to churches, there are churches who have been trained, pastors have been trained in child protection, churches have been child protection in place, and these are the systems we need in places of worship. So when that starts happening, it means if the church is in a position to protect families and children because they know what the law is.
You brought a point that's very interesting. You said that pastors have been trained into child protection. How long has this been taking place? Because, for example, if you work with children, you might need a CRB check, for example. Now, for pastors in general, do they have any kind of check to make sure that they're able to support the full extent of the community, let it be parents, children, and so forth? Because obviously you can speak the word of God, but at the same time, behind that, there is also like a kind of teaching of how you live, where the pastors have a big impact. Because obviously, as a worshiper or as a follower, as the term says, you would follow what somebody else is saying, because obviously you might expect them to have more understanding. So, are all the pastors always checked and vetted that they're able to support that community by having all those training available?
I think these are important messages to go into the community. We have started the processes so far, and we have an organization called Churches Child Protection Advisory Services. They do with churches, they train churches to have the systems in place. They train churches to have the systems in place, and we have so far all these years long since these cases of child abuse have been reported on tele in the Congolese community. We've been proactive on the front line to press on churches. There was a challenge when we started. We couldn't agree on the issues.
Mhm.
But there is a point where Congolese pastors came all together to the recognition that it is an issue that need to be addressed in churches. Now the problem is how do we go about it, to the processes. There are churches who have been trained in child protection, but now the issue is it is not paperwork you put into your drawers. Now, how far is this being implemented in churches? That's another issue. But the message is there. We've worked a long way with the Department of Education. I will show you, we produced an action plan based on child abuse, based on faith and belief. There are a lot of strengths there. What we are doing here, we have made the recommendation that children and young people must be listened to. The government knows. That's what we're doing here. And we have to engage with communities. And in engaging with communities, there are churches, and we have pastors on board who try to create that kind of engagement. The church have been trained in child protection and they are following the rules, but now we need to evaluate this work. Training means you put the systems in place and all the safeguard system in the church. Children are not praying in the same place with the adults. They have a safe place, and there is a safeguarding coordinator, child protection coordinator in the church, and the pastor himself is CRB checked. People who are working with children are checked. They know the reporting system, they know how to do with children and how to report concerns. And they know that what the spiritual framework, the way you preach, should also abide by the law. You are not terrorizing children. You are not pointing fingers in front of the congregation that you are a witch, because even the Bible condemns it. I remember in the Bible saying, whoever abuses a child, it deserves to be put a heavy stone, yeah, and be thrown into the water. So it is not permissible. Are you a man of God if you abuse a child? That's a question you answer. See,
Which is very interesting because having parents with hearing this, that's one of the things that you could use as a tool, as you mentioned earlier on. As an adult, church should not influence you. In order for you to pick a church, because you mentioned people coming from abroad, finding a safe haven in the church, then those are the ways that you can actually choose or select a church that is appropriate.
right,
You can use that as a potential
right,
mark of quality.
right.
Let me check with this church before I get involved
Right.
with the church.
Right.
What are the ethos and do they have all those safeguarding in place before I can kind of put my faith in it and commit my time and involve my child? So these are very valuable information.
And for social work, when you offer
Where can
this,
parents find that information from you?
they can find it here.
Okay.
Okay, and for social workers also, when you're giving the parenting support to parents, and when parents come here, when we used to give parenting, we used to give all these indication when they go to church, the signs they need to find, not only faith, but they need to check that the environment is also safe for themselves.
Can we say
And the church ask a question about child protection policies. The people who look after the children, are they checked? Are all the system in place? They have the right to ask questions, okay, and assess if the place is safe for them.
Louis.
Okay.
I just want to say, this formula you said about churches taking responsibility, I think it worked fantastic. But I personally believe our churches are not ready for that responsibility yet. Because as people that have been in this country, the younger generation, been in this country for a long time, the mind frame, the way I think is very different from the older generation. Meaning, you go to a church and the pastors or the member of the church are asking for a dime of like £20, and then they increase it to £50. For us, we're not going to accept that because we cannot understand it. But they don't even go to the extent of explaining it. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that the motive is different. Now, taking responsibility to actually look after a home, I don't think they're there yet.
I think what we should maybe do is, first of all, we need to do an appeal. We need to tell, because a lot of families are influenced by the churches, not always in a bad way, but sometimes as well in a good way. But a lot of families just listen to what the preacher is saying, what's happening around them, but they don't really pay attention to the children. So I think what we have to really, because we know that families, mothers, and fathers are influenced by the pastors, by the preachers, prophets, or doctors, or anything they are. I think we need to tell them that they should be talking about safeguarding the children. They need to talk more, not just preaching about faith, because in the Bible as well, they talk about kids. They talk about, love your kids, respect your wife, respect your husband. But when you say, a lot of time they talk about love to women, men and women, love, unconditional love that God gives us. They don't talk about the way mothers, parents, fathers have to love their children. They don't say that you shouldn't just insult your children like that and call them doki, because one person might not affect them, but the other side, it might affect the child really, really in a bad way. So I think it's really a time where we need to make an announcement. We need to tell the churches, we need to tell them that it's time for you to speak about children. Because if we believe that children are our future, then we need to start speaking about kids. We need to start speaking about helping. It's not just about taking those children, putting them in another room, you guys take care of them. No, it's about leaving the kids in the same room, and I would tell your mom in front of you what you need to change. Do you speak to your children? I remember last time I made an announcement on Facebook where I said, when was it the last time that you told your child that you love them? A lot of people don't do it. In England, it's really easy to say love you, but when you're from Germany, like I am, to say ich liebe dich, it really sounds very heavy, don't you guys think? It sounds kind of ich liebe dich. It's quite love you. That's it. So a lot of parents don't do that. They don't say je t'aime, te quiero, ti amo. They don't really say that. But I think we need to learn to say I love you, je t'aime, because when you show them this little affection, it can open a young person's yeah.
That is not something that is in our culture.
Exactly, I was gonna
Yes,
say
that is some openly expressing emotions and feelings when it doesn't come to a man, when it's not in the context of a man and a woman.
Yeah.
It is not something that is widespread in our culture. It's not. It's something that we are adapting to
Yes.
when we move. We've left Congo. It's
Yes.
not. And even now, I mean, I like to think I'm both. I'm 50-50.
Yeah.
Because I came here. No, I don't think I'm more sick. I'm 60% Congolese and 40%
Really?
European or whatever. But and I still that is still with my friends. I can with people that I understand, but if it's like with my dad or my it's like it's a bit heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really heavy because that's not we didn't grow up with embraces and it was like drill sergeant and
Exactly. Yeah.
that's how that is and that's because that our culture is like that. It is that the parents are here and the children are here and that's that and I think they think that showing emotion and love and expression or even pride
Yeah.
or uplifting your children it somehow brings them to
Close to
yeah
you.
brings
Yeah.
them too close and then they lose that position that they have and so that is something that is
I think
will be
that's
very
something that we
very
need
tricky
to really like
within our
touch these
community.
churches and tell them, okay, guys, it's not time for you to show. Your child is next to you. Your child is sitting next to you in church. You pastor, tell the mom and tell them to tell you, I love you,
Okay,
and
okay.
yeah.
There is, I'll get to you. Social worker, you see this?
Yes.
Right. Can everybody see this? You know, I'll like also always around the table to see. So these are the kind of stuff Linda is talking about. So when the system or social work or people working with young people want to assess a family, they look into this framework of assessment. Now, the things Linda is talking about is on the side of parenting capacity. Do you think this is things people or our parents in the community should be educated about?
Yes.
Show them
Yeah.
how to show the emotional warmth,
Yeah,
how
and
to
they
provide
do it. I think they
guidance.
do it up to a certain age, and then
Yeah.
I think they do. I mean, that's not to say that parents don't love their children, and you know that they do. And
Yeah.
they're quite happy to tell. It's like me. If I had a child, I'm quite happy to tell.
Now,
Luke,
can I interrupt you?
yes.
These are we also find this in our culture, don't you? Because in Congo, here
Yeah.
you have to walk your child to school,
Yes.
but back home they go on their own. If you
Yeah.
know it. So who cares about them?
I mean, do you know what?
We don't fear. They go themselves. Here you have to take them to school. Go and
Because
get them.
you're
You don't
worried.
trust
You
them.
worry that someone might abduct your child, on
Okay,
the way.
okay. You don't have it back home. It's not a positive thing.
That is, yes, that is a
Everybody
positive,
seems to be a parent of a child, even on the street.
yes, and everyone.
No,
The
you don't
culture
have it
is
here.
different.
It's the positive thing. Don't
It
you
is
feel?
positive, and my family here and my family back home are completely polar opposites. I find my family back home, they're loving,
Yeah.
they are not all of them, but they're loving, they're welcoming, and they receive me well and things. But that is still not something that is within but that is something that I've noticed within the family here and family there.
So they relate to you, but not to one of the children.
The children
there.
that's there, but that's because I've come.
Yes.
But on a day-to-day basis, that's not it. It's not something that I've seen. I mean, obviously, no one walks around telling anybody "I love you" every day, but it is different, and it's like they're more comfortable to say to another person. I can say to Claudia, "Oh, I love Cynthia," but I might not be able to say to Cynthia, "I love you." Cynthia. Do you understand? It's completely different. They can be boast and proud of their children out, but they don't let their children hear it. When their children need to hear it to encourage them to have that sense of self-love.
So you mean in the UK context or here,
Mhm.
parents need to be supported and educated on how to provide stability and to provide guidance and boundary to the
And
children?
understand what the things that motivate children.
Okay.
And understand the things that children need in order for them to grow up to be well-rounded adults.
Right, stimulation. Oh,
Yes.
right. And
Still
to ensure
But
safety.
yes,
And,
At
okay.
the same time,
Right.
strict.
Yeah, but
Okay.
because there's a difference.
That's
The
a
things that a
culture.
child needs to become a well-rounded adult are things like guidelines, are things like discipline. It's obviously how you discipline those things. It needs love, it needs support, it needs encouragement, it needs loads of things for a child to be well-rounded. And I feel like we in the Congolese community, we are more focused on discipline and whereas there are other aspects of being a parent other than just disciplining your child.
As Louis said, discipline is very important.
Yes.
So I think we're not trying to say that discipline is not
Yeah.
a main focus,
Mm.
but discipline needs to be going hand in hand with other things.
Yes.
Exactly.
And as I say, culture also is not something that set in stone. Culture is something that morphs.
Okay.
Your culture from I've went back to Congo after over 20 years and I've seen a change. So let it be from Congo to here, with time things do change.
I think Kitoko was writing a lot here. Do you have anything to say? Anything else? I know you're quiet guy.
No, just basically when people talking, getting that, they're putting it down on paper so I don't forget it.
So I really hope we can have that. So because we can contribute and we can spread it. Because I think the message that we have been listening today is a message to be spread. Don't be afraid to speak to your pastors because church kind of educates, really. It should, yes. And it should even educating in safeguarding children. So it should kind of, and if anyone really, I hope the next time we can get the pastors to sit here and
Yeah, I just wanted to say about parent and children love to kids. I think our parents they like to treat us like the way they were treated when we were young.
Yeah.
And there's something that they need to know. They need to understand that our generation is much more that we need to show our emotion, how we feel. And sometimes when we tell our parent how we really feel, they find it disrespectful, which is not really nice. Like, I'm a grown up girl or man. I need to tell you exactly how I feel. I want my parents to know who I really am. And our Congolese parents, they're more like, if their kids are doing something, they don't see it. But if somebody else tell them, oh, your kids are doing this, it's hard for them to believe. They'll be like, oh no, that's not how my daughter or son is. But they don't really know how the daughter or son are. So I feel it's really important that they really like have that communication, at home, especially mom and dad, they need to speak to their kids and to know the kids much better. And then church might help as well.
Yeah.
Because in Congo we used to have this kind of like when we go to church we have ikodim.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know about
Yes.
ikodim. Like when
Some-
they'll be teaching kids how to behave at home and all
Yeah.
that. So in here in London, like I don't see that in churches.
Not a lot.
In church, we just preach about how to become successful in life, how you can be a businessman or woman, how God can bless you. But we're forgetting about how to, bring love into our home as well.
Exactly.
So
So thank you very much to everyone who participates here today. I really think we had a lot to say and people said a lot, and I hope and I know that someone who is watching this um table ronde today, this round table today, will get influence in a good way to help the children to get help. Yes, Claudia?
I just wanted to say something because you're saying about parents not saying to their children that they love them. I want to say that my dad, my mom and dad always tell us that they love us.
One in
So
a
I don't-
million.
One in a million,
So I
exactly.
don't want them
Well,
to
that's
watch
quite
it and
true.
they say that, oh, Chloe, you didn't say anything about us. So my mom and dad, they
Patricia,
always
you
say
know?
that, always. Every night, my dad takes us to bed every night and says that every night, every night.
That's
So
good.
it's
Probably
something
you
that-
have many problems. Because
It does.
when you have
Everybody has problems, but
but when you have money problem, it's something you ain't got time. Okay.
Yes, Patricia? As well?
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it's a bit weird to adapt as well because like when I got reunited with my mum and dad, at first I think they still weren't like Congolese culture all the way, and I think kind of halfway through they kind of started changing, and then it became weird for me because I was used to them being a certain way.
Yes.
Like when my dad says "I love you" to me, I'm just like, because I didn't grow up like that as
Yeah.
well. It's so in a way, with the "I love you" thing, it can be quite hard because sometimes it's not just the parent; it can be the kids as well.
Kids as well.
Very
If they're
true.
used to a certain way, because every time my dad's like, "Mama, I love you," I'm just like, "You too, Dad." Like I feel like I'm the parent that's like, "Oh, you're making me cringe now." Like so, it can be quite hard for the children as well in terms of adapting culture.
So kids as well learn how to say I love you to your parents, and parents learn how to say I love you to your kids, not just the 2-year-old, but the one who's 32 as well, the one who's 45 as well, the one who's 25 as well. That's very important. And if you see one of your children who likes to go out, hang out with his friend the most, tell him, you know what, today you're gonna hang out with me. Me and you're gonna go to the cinema, because that puts the family close together and that puts the parents close together to the child. Yes, Louis?
Yeah, I just want to give my conclusion
Yes.
as we're nearly finishing. I just believe, there's a lot of problem within our community, and it's our community, so we cannot be embarrassed of it. I love my community. Now, we need to take responsibility. Everyone needs to take the responsibility and actually do something for the community, because if we don't do anything, no one else is going to come and do anything. So we really need to develop ourselves, and spend time teaching ourselves. That way we can kind of contribute in our kids' future, in our neighbors' future, in our friends' future, because we have a lot of talent within us. So
Exactly.
this
Here
is
we have a lot of talent.
this is a good initiative. Let's keep it going.
Yes.
Kind of to echo what, sorry,
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
go
echo what
for it.
Louis
So, yeah.
just said. It's very important to have the kind of work that our government is doing, same thing as Linda, because as we say, we know that there are kids into the care system. It's nice to have that option to have somebody who can understand the culture, who's actually a professional.
Yeah.
So if there's other people out there who kind of working with young people, who are having an interest to work with young people and so forth, please do get in touch with these guys,
Yes.
because actually we need to kind of form an army and kind of be
Exactly.
able to have a greater impact. Because I'm working in my environment and I don't know a lot of Congolese people who
Yes.
work in this environment. It's nice to kind of meet with other like-minded people to make sure that the work is carried through. And as I say, people work.
Conclusion from your side. I think we're gonna have a conclusion from you.
Yeah, I just want to say something to Roman about what we discussed today, and a lot of things that he did say. I did think it made a lot of sense.
Yes.
It made a lot of sense, but at the same time, because our community is a lot of things that he missed, which was like the lack of knowledge we have in our community and the big ignorance that we have as well, which is there's a difference between knowing the law and thinking what is the law.
Yes.
And also what I made here, it was a lot of things our families have brought to us, basically lack of this knowledge where is we come here, we integrate, but we don't really spend time knowing what is integration. We'll
Exactly.
copy things that we see, oh, we're spending time, but taking it in a formal way, we don't do, because education is something you need to new. It's like you have to update
Yes.
everything because modernity is happening so fast.
Exactly.
We don't spend that time updating ourselves.
Thank
And
you.
this is another thing with our community where our parents spend 80 to 90% making money, and that money is not profitable to the children because they're doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's either they're making money or spending time worshiping. So there's that difference between our lives and them. And our lifestyle is very poor as well. We come here, we have the basic needs that we take in from the government, and our parents, they think that is enough.
Yes.
But we're lacking in the way of you don't necessarily have to have money to enjoy the simple things, which we don't know how to do, which our community lack. Because taking your kid to the park is not the same as taking them to McDonald's. Taking your kid to the library is not the same as you saying, oh, we're going to go to your uncle's house and you play with the kids. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And one thing I also want to say, when we see the term holiday,
Yes.
we still don't know what that expression means. Because when the kids go
Take the
holiday, it's that time for you and your family to go. I know a lot of families, like our communities, people might have their passport, but we can say a lot of kids have never been on a plane, which are born here. But the parents will spend money on buying a bag or decorating themselves with some hair and clothes that are expensive, and the parents would not take this kid, for example, to Disneyland, which costs nothing than £300. So we have a very lack and poor lifestyle that we take in.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Ben? Thank you.
What I would say, what I'll add to what you're saying is basically it's I'm not only gonna go on the parents because they had a different upbringing as well. But it's us now, the community, like people like Congo man and everyone here that we need to try to come up with something that will attract the parents to come and learn more. Like you might produce that book, but we need to try and find a solution where parents want to come and learn more. What's inside that book? It might not have to be in English. You can come and learn in Lingala. Oh, is this how it works? And especially the laws are changing as well. The law are changing, they are changing, and our parents need to adapt to it. They need to have a place where they go, say, oh, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. So they need to be keep updated. They don't have that place, or through even they go through the church can't recommend them anyway. You understand? Unless you go on Facebook trying to figure out people, and most of the people end up posting whatever you tell them. You understand? So that connection that I think we're lacking as the whole communities, not just the church, the children, the parents. As a community, we're lacking that connection, that links everything. Because even the government, even football, people that play football in the park, if they're good enough, they can progress and go to the Premier League. So we're lacking that connection to build I'll say a triangle where everyone can improve their business, their understanding, everything. We're lacking that in the communities because everyone want to do something in their own corner because they're not great. You understand? Because we all can pick up from one another. That I would say.
We can share. And information is for free. Thank you.
That's what I think.
I think in our community should do like a little event where parents can come together with the kids and then just have like a one-to-one conversation just to express their feelings, to tell the kids how they feel and the kids to tell them how they feel. And I feel like that's something that can actually bring all of us together as a family and to be united again. Because most of the houses, like they said about church, we go to churches, but when we come home, we don't pray as as a family at home. But when we go to church, you see the mom bed praying, like worshiping God. But when they come home, the kids in the bedroom, she may be on the phone, dad is somewhere else, like the family, they're not really together. So I feel like if we do like a little event, like Papa Mama and the boss brothers, they can help like do like little events where parents can come together and express their feelings to their kids. So that all this like going to social workers and all of them don't be happening much more often to our community.
Thank you very much, Mavi and Linda.
I'm just really happy to be here. I am. I'm really happy to be here, and really happy to be part of something that's so positive.
Yes.
And I really hope to see more initiatives of everything that you guys have put up. We need more action, more initiative, more people to come and sort of support the movement of us becoming an actual community, not just calling it a community, and us actually coming towards us, coming to it. So people come forward. We need to make this happen. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Claudia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What I can say is just parent to parent to learn how to live in a foreign country and to learn to have a balance between your identity and how other people live. That's it, really. To love the kids. Yeah, not to leave everything to the pastor. Yeah, to try to,
Take
to balance,
responsibility,
to
man.
take responsibility. Yeah, that's it.
But also,
And celebrating the achievement.
The
So,
achievement,
Exactly.
Parents who do well, who might want to kind of influence other parents, come forward. We might be
Yes.
able to organize things. Pastors who feel that they're on the right path and they want to kind of showcase how well they're doing.
Yeah,
Please come forward so other people can benefit from it.
exactly.
Young people who have like positive relationship with their parents and so forth, please do come forward so
Yes.
we can actually put things together and kind of celebrate what we do well. Because sometimes people might think that we've been like bashing one side or the other or whatnot, but we need to also celebrate what's happening. There's a lot of Congolese people out there, a lot of Congolese families who are very moving very well and progressing very well, and we want to celebrate those ones as well.
Before you say something, this table is open to everyone. So if you feel like you want to contribute to the next edition with another subject, get easy. Just email us or call us. The number will be down on the screen, or email us, and we will invite you to the next roundtable. We're sitting here with actress Patricia Balosa, who's an actress. We're sitting with Congo Man, who is a youth worker,
Years of youth work,
Connection.
connection.
youth offending services.
Exactly.
Right.
So
That's
if you need help for anything, he is there.
he deals with criminals.
He deals
Nah,
with the
joking.
problem. We have our cameraman, producer Louis Bossitompen right at the front. And we have Papa Roman will present himself later on. We have another Nolia Kitoko, who is a producer as well, if I can say that. A manager producer, journalist. You see, so many things. We have Ben Kitoko, who is the owner of Bianc. Ben Kitoko, who is the owner of Bianc. You see, he's the owner of Bianc Restaurant in Black Horse Road. So please go and visit a very nice restaurant. We have Mavi. Tell us, she's a nurse, isn't it?
She's a singer.
She's a singer.
She's everything.
She's everything. You see, we have talented Congolese people. We have Linda, a youth worker, and I know her. I know there's a lot of things to discover from her, and there's a lot of things which will confirm her to the Congolese community. And we have a singer, Claudia Bakisa, who is here sitting with us. So this table is open to everyone who can contribute something good into the community. Yeah.
Basically, my last question will be: how many churches organize events?
We will look that up, and next time we're gonna invite other people to contribute, to have a word, to have a voice. It's time to listen, it's time to talk, and it's time to contribute positively into the Congolese community. Thank you very much.
I'm very, very, very proud this point in time, to see a Congolese community united, to be working to become, in the word terms of Lina, the actual community, not just talking about communities, but we need to be doing positive things, showing the good work we're doing to support the community, and then mostly educating ourselves and our communities, and then celebrate the achievements. So I think next time we'll have more people around this table, and a lot has been said about church, but I know there are work that is being done down there. So what we need from that side to have again pastors around the table with us to show what good work is being done into the church,
Exactly.
to see that we are taking responsibility as a community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are here at Congo Impact, and this is one of the kind of work we've set up ourselves to do with young people. We love the community, we are part of it. We are not shying away because of the issues, but we're taking responsibility to address the issues and move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
If
you.
you wish to contact anyone sitting here on the table, easy, email us, contact us. It was Cynthia Camps, Papa Roma, Congo Impact, and everyone here on the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
What about you, brother? You got it wrong. Yeah. So we
So
woke up
what was
to
that
the
for?
footage.
What was one
Next.
more?
That
I'm
one.
here all weekend.
I don't know. I'm got a sleeping shift.
And
So
that's
I'm
you?
not going home today. That's why I got my sleeping.
Okay.
Where do you work?
I work in a mental health
Are you okay now?
residential unit.
Okay.
I don't know.
On top
That's the red button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Then